Who comes first, wife, mom, or child? Answer 1. I hope no one who's married or has children says their mom comes first. I love my mom, but even she would be mad if I picked her over my child or my wife. In fact, I remember the night before my wedding, my mom sat me down and made it clear. From now on, your wife will be number 1. It was a tough but important conversation that highlighted the shift in priorities that comes with starting a family. Answer 2. Let's be real. Put your wife second, and you might find yourself never having a second child. If you put your mom first, you might not even have a first child. Context is essential, but generally, I believe it should be wife and child before mom. It's about building that solid family foundation. Answer 3. I think the right answer really depends on the situation. In everyday life, it should definitely be wife, then child, then mom. But if we're talking about a life-threatening emergency, that's a different story. In that case, it's child first, then wife, then mom. But let's be honest, these hypothetical situations rarely come up. That said, I'd burn down the world to save my wife. She's my partner for life. Answer 4. Right now, my kids come first. Once they're older and can take care of themselves, my wife will take priority again, but it'll be close. I lost my mom a couple of years ago, and while I loved her dearly, she would have been third behind my kids and my wife. It's all about evolving priorities as life goes on. Answer 5. When I was in the Navy, we had a briefing before returning home from deployment that stuck with me. They emphasized that when you get off the ship and meet your family, you should go to your spouse first. Share that big embrace and remind them that you still choose them. It's solid advice and reflects how we should prioritize our relationships. Wife first, then kids, then mom. Answer 6. When it comes to relationships, I always think of it like this. Wife first. It's like the oxygen mask on an airplane. If my marriage isn't strong, then my children won't have a chance to thrive. Safety is paramount for my child. That's my primary duty as a parent. Answer 7. You've got to move on from your mother. Your child will eventually do the same. Your wife is the one you've chosen to spend your life with. After being with my wife for 12 years, I know she's the most important person in my life. I always make sure she knows that. After the kids grow up and start their own lives, it'll just be the two of us, and I want her to feel cherished. Answer 8. Honestly, the fact that people think this is a legitimate question boggles my mind. Wife or spouse should always come first. Without a successful partnership, there is no marriage. An unhappy spouse can lead to a split home, even if the kids are happy. Kids come next. It's our job to raise and nurture them to become good human beings. They're the blend of both you and your spouse. As for mom or parents, once you marry, you become one with your partner. You leave your parents behind. Sure, you can love them, but they shouldn't have a say in anything related to your immediate household. Answer 9. When my first child was born, it was an emergency delivery, and they had to rush him out. My wife was safe, but it was traumatic for my son. Thankfully, everyone is fine, but it was an experience that changed my perspective. Then, with my second child, we faced another emergency. My wife hemorrhaged an hour after delivery without warning and almost bled out. Having experienced these close calls with both my wife and my child, I can tell you firsthand that the thought of losing my wife was significantly more traumatizing when I look back. It really puts things into perspective.